story, we move over to the United States, where a US federal judge has ordered the release of Mahmoud Khalil, a pro-Palestinian protest leader and Columbia University graduate, from the Immigration Detention Center. Khalil, who had been held since March in Louisiana while facing deportation, was a prominent figure in nationwide campus protests against Israel's war in Gaza. The judge ruled that his detention was unconstitutional and found no evidence that he posed a flight risk or danger to the public. After being released from the prison, let's take a listen to what he said.
Trump and his administration, they chose the wrong person for this. That doesn't mean that there is a right person for this. There is no right person who should be detained for actually protesting a genocide, for protesting their university, Columbia University, that is investing in the genocide of the Palestinian people.
Khalil, a legal permanent resident married to a US citizen with a newborn son, was arrested under a Trump administration policy targeting foreign students involved in pro-Palestinian activism. His release is seen as a major setback to that policy, which has faced criticism for infringing on free speech rights. Khalil's family and civil liberties groups have welcomed the decision, though immigration proceedings continue. The Department of Homeland Security has expressed intent to appeal the ruling. His case draws attention to issues surrounding political expression and immigration enforcement in the United States. Now we stay in the region, where tensions continue to escalate in Los Angeles on Friday as Mayor Karen Bass publicly condemned US Vice President J.D. Vance for what she called, quote, lies and utter nonsense meant to provoke division and instill fear in the city. Bass described the deployment of federal troops as a provocation and accused the federal actions and rhetoric from Washington of spreading terror among residents. She said that federal actions have emptied local businesses more than the COVID era and caused widespread economic damage. She also slammed the presence of unidentified armed men during recent immigration raids and criticized Vance for misidentifying California Senator Alex Padilla as Jose Padilla. Here's what the mayor had to say.
The President of the United States spent 3 or 4 hours in LA before holding a press conference and spewing lies and utter nonsense in an attempt to provoke division and conflict in our city. This is consistent with the provocation from Washington that began 2 weeks ago, when our city was calm and millions of Angelenos were going about working and contributing to our city. The provocation has resulted in lives disrupted, terror and fear spread throughout our city. And it's just really sad when our economy, obviously we've had the issues in the city, and to have this unenforced error. There was just no need for this to happen. And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks, you've seen a huge dip in different sectors of our economy for this unnecessary experiment and unnecessary.
This comes after Vance's visit to Los Angeles to meet with some of the 700 Marines and 4,000 National Guard troops deployed to the city by President Donald Trump earlier this month. Vance thanked the troops for their efforts amid protests against ICE raids in the city. He also defended the deployments and said that troops remain necessary as authorities fear a resurgence of unrest. He also accused local Democratic leaders of encouraging immigrants to enter the country illegally and failing to support law enforcement. Here's what the Vice President had to say.
Because unfortunately, a lot of these federal buildings were under very serious threat. I heard about a lot of that during my tour here today, and the reason I'm here is I just wanted to hear from the law enforcement officials themselves, the state officials, the local officials, but also the federal officials, what's actually going on here on the ground. I think there's some good news, and the good news is the rioting has gotten a lot better. But the bad news is, as I heard from everybody, unfortunately, the soldiers and Marines are still very much a necessary part of what's going on here because they're...
His visit came just a day after a US appeals court ruled that President Trump could temporarily retain control over California's National Guard, while the state's Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom, pursues a legal challenge. The court's decision paused an earlier ruling that questioned the legality of the president's move to federalize the Guard. In a surprising move, Japan has cancelled a high